Well, folks, thanks for coming out today. I know when you volunteered to come do a tour of making phone calls, you didn't necessarily expect either it to be this hot or this exciting. But you are the folks who are the backbone of our campaign and our campaign effort. You are the folks who, like us, like Annie and me, worked and volunteered and voted for change in 2008. And as Annie and I have been going up and down the state the last 6 months, listening to Delaware's families, we hear a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety. Because folks agree with me that the administration has made great progress, but we have not yet gotten the change that we all voted for in 2008. And so, as I said last night, as I've said every day, this campaign is about a few simple things. It's about fighting to get America back on track and fix our economy. It's about making sure we rein in federal spending and tackle the deficit. It's about restoring innovation and manufacturing in this country. And it's about fighting for the middle class. And folks, there is nobody here in Delaware who has ever fought so hard for the middle class as our Joe, our Vice President. Ladies and gentlemen.
More. Harris McDowell, and before that his father, Congressman McDowell. And Mousy, how are you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. He knows so much about me, he's not telling anybody. We used to hang out on the east side together a little bit, right, man?
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, pal. Hey, look, first of all, congratulations. And Andy, thank you. Thank you for being willing to do this. Look, there's a, folks, Delaware hasn't changed. Delaware and the Delawareans who make up the state are folks who value above all your leveling. Tell them the truth and taking responsibility. And whether that's over in the east side where I used to work, or it's down in Sussex County, or it's out in Greenville, no matter where it is, it's the same deal. And folks, they are about healing, not dividing. They are about putting things back together, not knocking things down. And by the way, that's been the tradition. You know, folks back in Washington or around the country wonder how could I have been such great friends with Bill Roth and Mike Castle and all the Republicans I served with, because we had disagreements. We had disagreements on policy. We had ideological disagreements, but it was never, ever, ever disagreement. Never, ever, ever disagreement. And the national media is here following this race now, and I'm glad they are. Won't understand exactly what I mean, but there's the Delaware way. The Delaware way is we have a problem, we get everybody in a room together. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and we try to solve the problem. And folks, I want to make it real clear from the outset here that the Bidens, all the Bidens, Attorney General Biden, Jill Biden, Valerie Biden, Joe Biden, the entire family, we are not lately for Chris Coons. We have been for Chris Coons from the beginning. So you're going to hear a lot of malarkey because this stuff comes out in campaigns about whether or not the Bidens really sweat. You ask Chris, who the first two people who called him to encourage him to run for the United States Senate and to tell him that we would back him with every single bit of energy we have. And there's a reason for that. You know, there's a tradition of people honorably serving, people serving in a way where they don't shirk responsibility, and people who are just decent and effective. And I'm sure you all forgive me, or maybe you share my view. Mike Castle was all those things. I disagreed with Mike Castle. Mike Castle has been a friend of mine and an acquaintance of mine since high school. I kid him, he was a few years ahead of me. He was since high school. This is a guy who is thoroughly decent and served the people of the state of Delaware with great honor and dignity for a long time. We disagreed. We voted differently. And that's just fine. When I first got to the United States Senate, I had the great advantage of having a group of older senior senators who were looking out for me, and the fact that I didn't want to go after the accident that One of them was Mike Mansfield. Never forget Mike Mansfield telling me after I walked into his office the second or third month I was there, he was basically taking my pulse because I agreed to only stay 6 months and I wanted to come home with the boys, and for real. And he was sort of bringing me along, and I was in his office and I was really upset about a senator who said some outrageous things on the floor, and I said, that guy has no heart, and he went through and pointed out to me how he did have heart. And he said, Joe, let me tell you, never question the other man or one's motives. Question the judgment. Never question the motive. You don't know what the motivation of the other man is. You know what they say, you know what they're doing, you can determine whether or not what they're saying and doing makes sense from your perspective. You disagree. That's the nature of the politics of government. And this is a thoroughly decent man. This is a man that who is, I would argue, and I doubt whether Harris, who's been around as long as I have, would disagree. I know of no person who has served in the Senate or has run for the Senate in the state of Delaware from the time I got back from law school in 1968, summer of '68, who is more qualified intellectually, emotionally, in terms of her character, than to be the United States Senator, than Chris Coons. And that's responsibility. Chris is about fixing things. Chris is about in this for the same reason I got in it and the same reason he got in it. And we've known each other a long time. It's about giving the American people a fighting chance. No one in his family or mine or any of yours, when we grow up, anybody thinking we're entitled to anything except just an even shot. Just an even shot. It's all about whether or not you can make it to the middle class, you have a fighting chance to stay there, to be able to raise your family. And everybody says to me, Biden, what's your definition of middle class? It's living in a decent neighborhood that's safe, in a home you can heat and you can cool in the summer, in a circumstance where you have a promise that you'll be able to provide a life a little better for your kids than was provided for you. And I don't know about you, but Mouse will agree with me. I don't know anybody on the east side or anybody out in the center who doesn't aspire for their child to be able to go to college. You're right. The poorest, the most downtrodden folks out there. It's all about a shot. And it's about those people who want to get to the middle class, giving them a shot. Because that's what this country's about.